Okay, hello y'all. We are about to do something very different here. Um, I have never done this before, but I'm pretty good at this kind of stuff, so I'll figure it out. I think. What we're going to do here is I'm going to talk y'all through a process. So some of you guys have been reaching out to me and talking about the last video where I showcased an older saw, the Poland 245A, and I pit it against the Thunder Kitten, which, if you're new to this channel, is a Echo 4910 50cc saw that has been ported and polished by Mr. Charles Briscoe. Um, Now that saw runs really well and really strong, but Charles can build a much faster version of that saw. I In hindsight, I kind of wish I had done it a little differently, but but I didn't want a big screaming saw. I wanted a good solid work saw that I was not going to have any problems with, that I'd be able to run 89 octane if I wanted, and stuff like that. And so, but anyways, that was 50cc versus 74cc, and then I rambled at the end of that video for a very long time about how the old saws just cannot even, right? Now, there will probably be some exceptions, of course, and if you modify something, well, then you've modified it. And so that is not what I'm talking about. Now, I will say that your modified old saw will not be able to compete with my modified newer saw, modern saw. In my opinion, basically everything 1981 and forward. Like whenever I say old saw, I'm talking you've got a horizontal lay down cylinder, um, and you probably have points, but even if you have an electronic ignition, you're limited. You don't pull a lot of RPMs because that's the way they were built back then. Now, some of this stretched over into the 80s as well, right? With your low RPM and your lay down horizontal design. But for the most part, somewhere around 1980 is where things started to change and we started to develop our modern chainsaws. One of those, I get it that it's old, but I do not consider it an old chainsaw, and that is the 2100 CD. That was one of the very first modern saws. Jonsered started it, I believe, with their 49 SP and their 70E, right? They started making the modern saw. Husqvarna then got on the bandwagon with their 2100. But even like the 7700 Husqvarna and the L65, those right there, they have a very low RPM rating right, out of the box in stock configuration. Again, whenever you modify something, guys, you modify it. And yes, you can get a pretty good runner and everything. But you do those same modifications to a newer saw, something from the late 80s and 90s. These are our modern saws that it's hard to beat. Even with the new stuff, like my 592 XP, that's like 30 years after the 2100 by Husqvarna had stopped being made, and my 592 can barely beat it. So, the 2100 is very much, in my book, a modern chainsaw, even though, yeah, it is a bit crusty. So, but anyways, so here's what we're going to do. I've taken, I'm still over here in Berlin. I tested again today, and I'm still positive for COVID. They will not let me fly home unless I get a negative COVID test within 24 hours. So that's why videos are looking a little bit different. So anyways, what I have here on the screen that you should be seeing, we have Josh, he's my buddy, and this was at a party that I threw back in 2019. I think. And we were doing some racing. If you notice here, the log is slightly larger than it is here. It appears to be, like at this point, by the time I'm cutting, we had gotten into this portion. So this right here, guys, is grain of salt time. You can't expect it to be perfect. This was never set up to be perfect, but I do know that both of these chainsaws are running a full chisel chain, and it's good and sharp. All right. So here we go. What Josh is running is a 2255, all right, Jonsered. And then what we have over here, what I am running, is the Husqvarna, the McCulloch ProMac 55. So what we have is, I think the ProMac 55 is 57 cc's. Maybe it's 56 cc's. But anyways, and we got the Jonsered, which is actually just a red version of the Husqvarna 455 Rancher. All right. And if you watch this channel, you've seen the 455 Rancher go up against a lot of things, and it is lacking, we shall say. But let's go ahead and let's see what we got here. All right. Both saws are going at it. Pretty evenly matched, it seems. Boom. Okay, so there you go. I'm still rolling, ain't I? Yes, I am still rolling. So what you just saw there, the 2255, which is the same thing as, see right here, right now, I've got the 455 Rancher. Right, so we're gonna start playing with it. Anyways, so it beat the ProMac, right? Basically the 455 Rancher beat the ProMac 55 by 15%. Okay, so now going by that number right there, now we have the Poland 306A, which is a 59cc saw that would be probably a direct competitor to the McCulloch 55. Let's see how it holds up. And of course the Rancher beats it, but by how much? All right, so the Rancher beat it by 20%. So if you looked at, if we put that 306A, if we matched it up against a ProMac 55, in theory here, I know it's not perfect, okay, guys, but we're having fun, right? We're watching videos about chainsaws. So in theory, the ProMac 55 would beat that 306A Poland by 5%. So what I have done is I have now taken that exact same clip and I have sped it up to 105%. All right, so now the Poland is representative of, in theory, the ProMac 55. This is fun. We're theorizing here. Boom. And there we go. So again, the Rancher, the 455 Rancher, was still able to pull off the win, theoretically. But let's say that you had the McCulloch 1010S. How much faster would it be than this Poland? My guess would be, right, the ProMac 55 was already 5% faster. Let's give it a full 15% faster than this Poland 306A. Okay, so let's do that. Let's change things up here. And we will, yep, there we go. We're gonna change the speed of this. Okay, so now we can go like this. You get to see a little bit of the, now it says 100% here, guys, but this clip is already at 105. Trust me, I know editing. It's because I did this cut right here. So anyways, so we're going to take and we're going to make this 110. I know it seems weird to you guys, but trust me, it's actually correct this way. That makes the clip of this Poland. Okay, come on, let's go away. There we go. They fit in now. It makes the clip of this Poland, in theory, about the same speed as a Pro Mac, a stock Pro Mac 1010S. Let's see how it looks. All right, not so bad, right? It didn't, not so bad. However, here's where it gets great, all right? What I want to do is I want to get rid of that 455 Rancher, and let's bring in something more realistic of today's standards. Here we go. Let's have a look at this. Instead of it being that Rancher, it is now the 590 Timberwolf. At this point, we're getting kind of embarrassing, you know, all right? But at this point, I'm just softening y'all up, okay? I'm whispering in your ears. I'm telling you how good you look tonight. I'm getting you ready. You're thinking, this guy's all right. I like him. He's got nice hair. But here comes the big guns. The things that people were talking to me about were very specifically the Poland, 4200 and the Poland 5200. Because what they were saying was, this was Neil and Eddie. You guys were saying, hey, I think that those could keep up. I think that the Poland 4200 and the Poland 5200 could keep up. Well, up until this point right now, this is really, really all speculation, right? We're going to change that to a little bit less speculation and a little bit more real time. What's going on here? I'm missing some stuff. No, there it is. Okay. So, what we have here is, let's do this. You guys need to be able to see me. There we go. All right, so what we have here is a little bit more realistic. There we go. I have the Poland 5200 right here. It has a 24-inch bar. It has a good full chisel chain on it that's sharp, right? Same exact thing can be said about the Jonsered 2172, which is exactly the same saw as a 372 XP X Torque. Okay, this is the X-Torque saw that I did some flow porting. I opened up the exhaust and I opened up the intake as well. Okay, and it's a high compression piston. So it's a little bit modified. Well, let's watch first, and then I'll tell you about this modification. All right, this is the same oak log, by the way. So cutting on the same side of it and everything. Okay, so the mildly modified X-Torque really handles its business and says, hey guy, no. No. So that's 71 cc's, an X-Torque 71 cc's. It's not ported, it's flow ported. It's just a little bit of cleanup. It's all that's been done to it besides an open exhaust and an open intake. Okay? Against 85 cc's and a good 85 cc's. This Poland pulls chain. It's good, right? So now let's see what it does. This right here, right? This is my Jonsered 2171 Cutter's Edge. So it is a new edition. I always do that. It is the original edition 372 XP. So it does not have the X-Torque. It is not a Strato saw. All right. The only performance modification it has is that big air filter that you see. That's it. So we've got 71 cc's with a 28-inch bar, and we have 85 cc's with a 24-inch bar on the exact same log. All right. This is where you need your Vaseline. I'm telling you, you guys that think that these old saws are fast, you're wrong. You're wrong. Now, are they fun? Yeah, they're awesome. Boom. Look at that. I'm going to start another cut. And we're all having fun here, guys. I mean, we're all having fun. Oh, there we go. But, so, it's no big deal at all. I enjoy these old saws. I really love that 5200 right there. I really love that 5200. But I think it'll only pull, unless you modify it, it will only pull like 8,500 RPMs. You know, and on top of that, here's the big deal. A lot of people will throw out things like, well, it may not be very fast, but it'll pull a long bar. That has not been what I have seen. Those two saws right there in question, those two saws, I wouldn't doubt it if that Jonsered actually has more torque as well. I mean, maybe it doesn't, but it's not far off the mark, guys. It's really not. So don't mistake this video as me hating on the old saws, because I love them. I really like that Poland right there that you're looking at. I really like that. However, you know, I just want to get all the people that are new to this, give them the opportunity or to understand things a little bit better and go, oh, so a lot of what you're seeing on these videos is just people being happy with their saw, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I get happy with my saw. I'm like, yeah, that thing runs great, right? And they do, and it's great. There's nothing wrong with that. is just understand there's a difference between somebody being excited about how good their saw is running and how much fun they're having and the reality of what that saw is capable of doing. That's it. And look at those videos, you know. I mean, I would love to see I would love to see one of, like, let's say the Bucking has some really nice Super Pro 81s and stuff. That right there. You know, I would love to see that saw compete in a similar manner of what I have just shown you. You know, Bucking saw, his hot ones, you know, his hot saws. I would love to see those get tested against modern saws, you know, non, I mean, not even ported, you know. I mean, I want to see how good they are, you know, in comparison. So, yeah, I want to see that shit. So, but I'm really the only guy out there doing these so strictly. I mean, there's other people that will do test, absolutely, but I've got a hell of a library built up at this point of test mules where I'm doing this back and forth, and like I don't have access to Buchan's Super Pro 81 that has been ported by Tin Man or Iron Horse or whatever. I would love to see how they actually compare to modern saws, because boy, Buchan makes those look. He makes them look so good. He makes them look so good, and I love watching it. I don't give a shit if they're actually slow. I don't care. I don't care. It looks cool to me. They sound cool. I bet you it feels good whenever he runs them. All that stuff. All I'm saying is, I'm just saying, that's it. And I don't want to give the impression in any way that, I mean, I love Bucking. I am not talking shit. He is fun as heck to watch. And that little message of be kind and love everybody and everything. I mean, I'm not gonna go spouting it out and everything because I have a tendency to just, that's kind of me. But it's nothing but positive. Nothing but positive. I don't have a single bad thing to say. Just wanting to point out some reality. That's all. And anyways, I guess that's enough for this video. I'll stop it and hopefully it all worked out well.